Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Glassman's world. I'm Dan the Glassman. For those of you who don't know, and usually, this channel is all about blowing glass, music, and current events. So recently, I have been going through a bit of a very stressful time. A lot of people have been going through a lot of stress. Been going through a lot of these storms recently, including actual storms, real storms, a lot of firestorms, a lot of thunderstorms causing all kinds of floods. A lot of different things are going on in our life and in our world these days, and sometimes, those things get quite overwhelming and become extremely stressful and you know can cause a lot of friction with yourself in your life, with your own energy, with your own frequency and your own vibration, and and then of course having to deal with everyone else and all the other outside vibrations and frequencies and everyone else's ideas and suggestions and all sorts of things. And so today I wanted to talk about getting through the storms, and how we can get through these storms. There's so much going on these days, and recently in Ruidoso, New Mexico, they've had some severe fires. And these fires, there's two different fires. Was it the salt fire and the something fork? Gosh, I don't even remember exactly what it is. But there are two different fires that are in New Mexico down south, near the border of Texas um, and Mexico, down there, Las Cruces area, El Paso, in a place called Ruidoso, New Mexico. And so just the other day, they have had to evacuate the entire town, which was, that was extremely intense. To have see it just unfold live. I'm not there in Ruidoso, but as you're aware, if you're watching this right now, you're aware that we have social media and all of this information, the news, the current events. It all comes through different channels, through different platforms, through different social media pages, and through different people. And so it's been pretty crazy recently with what's been going on with everything down there. And so they had an evacuation orders, and basically they had like no warning. It was just grab your grab your family um, and go. Like they didn't even say grab any important things or any important belongings or anything. They simply just said grab your stuff and go, to get out. There was no time. And the other day I shared a video. I believe it's a clip of just a 60-second clip of individuals who are driving out, and it looks like right at that end, it's on Earth Cam, so you can actually watch it um, via live stream there. And the whole, I think it's about 4.5 hours, 4.5 hours long. Of you can just see the fire just building up and building up and building up, and then at the end of the video, um, it cuts out. I don't know if that's when they lose power, and then maybe their feed went out, and it just cut out right at the end. There were vehicles that were stuck in traffic, It usually takes 45 minutes to leave um, from Ruidoso to, I believe they were trying to get out to Socorro or somewhere, and they were saying it takes like 45 minutes drive usually, and it took them 4 hours, guys. So that would be like us driving from here to Albuquerque, and then just getting stuck in a line of traffic for that whole time, and taking as long as it would take to drive from like here to to Colorado. So that's a really long time to be sitting there and panicking and worrying and stress and going to the shelters and everything. I can't even imagine what people are what they went through and what they're still going through. There's a lot of there's a lot of people who are displaced right now. From what I heard, at least 50 different structures went down. Um, I forget what it's called, but there's a place down there known as like the ski resort or something. I believe that place got burnt down. A couple other big places went down. A huge estate, like a mansion, completely burnt up. And so, there's a lot of people who are just displaced right now. They don't have anywhere to return to yet. It's going to take a while for any sort of cleanup and stuff and to figure out if anyone can even get back in there to the fire zone. So we'll have to see um, if anyone can get in there. There's been a little bit of footage coming out of the damage and what everything looks like. So we'll have to see, how everything looks. And, we'll take it from there. As you are aware, I'm sure you're aware. I've been following the fires all over. We've had a lot of fires here. Last a few years ago with the Hermit's Peak fire being the largest fire in U.S. history as far as acreage, and then recently they had the deadliest fire in U.S. history, which was the Lahaina fire, and apparently being that it's the deadliest fire, it's they've they have well, they say they only lost like 100 individuals, but in the reality of the situation, if it's the deadliest fire in U.S. history, then that would mean that it'd have to exceed over 1,600 to 2,200 lives. This fire here is being deemed as one of the most destructive fires in U.S. history, being that it's grown so quickly, so fast. It was like, I don't know what they were saying, like at 10 acres or something small, and then right away it jumped up to like 100 acres or 1,000 acres, and then it just like went full tilt and just caught. The winds came in and just burnt everything down. And like I said, we'll see. As of yesterday, it was 50% contained. I don't know how much it's contained as of today. Um, so there are a lot of people who are getting through a lot of fires, and then also there are a lot of floods happening, guys. So a lot of people are also getting flooded out right now here in New Mexico, as well. So there's a spot just south of us and to the east, out there by Mountain Air, Estancia, I believe, New Mexico. Basically just right down there, just north, like what to the east of Socorro. So where people are evacuating, they're going from fires to floods. And what's interesting, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before and how I've had many dreams, reoccurring dreams in the past. I haven't had a lot of them though recently. It seems like my dreams have moved on from that scenario, and now my dreams are giving me new scenarios and new things. And so in those dreams from way in the past and up until recently, I've always had these dreams of fires and floods and being on the mountainside and just looking around and just seeing nothing but fires all over the mountaintops and the peaks and everywhere, and then just floods all over in the valleys, just fires and floods everywhere. And so I've had these dreams and premonitions for a really long time. And it's just interesting that now people are actually driving from Ruidoso to escape a fire, and they're driving into an area where I believe when I saw the news, they said that they already reported or were predicting like 8.5 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain in one day. 8.5 inches is like, that's quite a bit, guys. So I don't know what to say, or like, of course, you want to pray for everyone, but the way prayer works is really you gotta have to pray for yourself, and then you have to put the work in, and then also keep the faith, right? And so that's all of what it really takes to getting through the floods, is making sure that you're praying, that you're just always putting yourself in the positive outcome. You don't want to focus and dwell on all this negative and the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if then you create so much anxiety and worry when you really just need to know that keeping the faith, praying and manifesting positive, not worrying about the negative. So, you don't want to continuously pray about, oh, I'm worried about this, and oh, I'm worried about that. Like, no. Be confident knowing things are going to be okay no matter what. Like, even if all is lost, things are still going to be okay. You know, especially when it's material loss, we can all get through material loss. A lot of things it's hard to lose, especially when they have that sentimental value, and you are completely, um, you know, attached to these possessions, these material possessions, because of memories and because of the history of the items or wherever, being passed down from generation to generation or whatever it may be, or even if it's something new, someone that you just recently met and they gave you something, a new necklace or whatever, and maybe that got lost in the fires or whatever, And so you have to really have that faith knowing that everything's going to be okay. No matter what, everything's going to be okay. And then you want to put that positive energy, that positive vibration out there, and pray and manifest that things are going to be okay. You don't want to put the energy into, oh, is this not going to be okay, or is this not, like, what if this happens, or what if that happens, like, always know the situation, like, what you're getting into, whatever it is, and then just be aware of all outcomes, and just know, like, yes, some things that you may not want to occur is going to happen, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of losses, a lot of property losses, and we've even had human fatalities as well, which it's really sorry to have to report that, and it's really sad to say. We've lost a musician in our community who wasn't able to get out of the fire, and apparently another individual as well. So from what I've heard, there's been 2 confirmed fatalities so far. Human fatalities. That doesn't, account for any of the animal, livestock, or any of the pets, or and just wildlife or anything like that. But I'm sure there's a lot of lives were lost in the fire, and including trees and the forest. And now they're worried and concerned about what's going to happen with after the fires. Then there's a lot of ash, which is all over the earth, and when the rains come in, which they're predicting that we have these storms coming in right now. Which let's actually go outside. Let's take a little sightsee here, and we'll talk about what's going on. So, yeah, they say that there's some storms coming in, and let's check out these storms. Well, that doesn't look like much storms to me. We actually had a lot of crazy storms recently. Last night, there was a lot of winds and a lot of clouds all built up over this way. So let's see. If we look that way, yeah, you can see A lot of cloud coverage all right there. But then the way that chemtrails work is the aluminum in the sky gets contacted by the clouds as they roll in, and then when the clouds move all those chemtrails, it then gets, um, it rolls right where the sun is, and so basically, wherever the sun is going to heat up that aluminum, which is going to evaporate the moisture and get rid of the precipitation out of the clouds, and it breaks up the storms. Because, if I turn around right here, you will see that we've had the storm rolling in all day, all morning. I've been out here pumping water, and we'll talk about this situation here. You can see that our area is a lot different looking now compared to what it was the other day, yesterday, and a few days ago. And so, yeah, you can see we've got this huge storm rolling in, and there was a lot more cloud coverage all around, all over here earlier, and all over there. And as I was out here, I was like, huh, I wonder if we're going to actually get some rain coming in. That storm looks pretty ferocious right there, right? But they spray the chems directly over the major metropolitan areas. We're in Albuquerque, so we are a major metropolitan area. It lingers in the sky, it stays there for days, and then when the clouds roll in, so before the storms hit, usually a day or two, they'll hit the skies with a lot of trails. They'll leave those trails in the sky. And then all those chems, they linger, they stay for a while, and then the real storms roll in, the real clouds roll in. And then as it hits the area, like, this is all metropolitan area over here too. Like all this over here, this is all metropolitan area, but it takes some time for all of that, those fumes and everything. You can see how much it just perforates and breaks up. This big old huge storm is just getting broken up, and then it just gets dissipated out. And so this sun, it's doing its job right here, and so that's how it works, guys. And so there are a lot of individuals who are dealing with fires and floods right now, and we had this huge storm the other day, yesterday, 8 inches of rain apparently, which is crazy to think, to get 8 inches of rain. So I'm gonna smoke this cig right here. Hope you guys don't mind. So we've been dealing with our own kind of storm. So, a lot of people have been dealing with some real major stuff, major issues, and things like that. And it creates stress. And a lot of our stressors and things in our life, those are our daily storms that we have to deal with every day. And those are those things that you need to pray, put good positive energy onto, to always just try to manifest a positive outcome instead of worrying about the negative, or else you're gonna, if you do that, then you'll manifest the negative. And so, and you have to put in the work. You can't just pray and expect things to just happen on their own. You got to put in that positive energy, and then you got to listen for those signs, or those messages, or whatever, those suggestions that you get, those inner suggestions from your God self within, or from God, from Creator, telling you like, hey, there's this opportunity. If you need to make money, there's this way you can do this. Or if you need to figure out how to like, you know, like, I can't even imagine right now, like, people are trying to figure out where they're gonna stay, where they're gonna live and sleep and all this stuff. And the storms that I've been dealing with aren't even nothing compared to what people are dealing with down there in Ruidoso. There's other fires that are breaking up. I believe there's a fire out there south of Gallup or Grants, which is on the west side of us. So that smoke might be coming this way soon. I don't know how much containment that has. But as of yesterday, 50% contained in the Ruidoso fire there. So recently we've had some stuff hit. For the last few months, it's been kind of crazy. I still haven't got my table set up. I'm not blowing glass yet. I don't know. Was it 4 months now? 3 months? 4 months? I don't even know. I gotta thank God for an able body that I'm able to go out there and do some little bit of side hustle here and there. I got to thank all those individuals who need some help and are able to afford to pay me for my time and my service. So that's a good thing. A lot of people have come together to help me out, and me going over there helping them out. By helping each other out, that always seems to be part of the solution. When you're manifesting a solution, that's always one of the things is figuring out who you can help out, and then maybe in turn they can help you out. Got a little cloud coverage right there, huh? So I really got to, just give thanks and gratitude for all those who have needed my help and been able to afford to pay me. And, you know, that's been most of my issue in my storm, my personal storm recently, is having to deal with finances over and over, and, and bills and things, stuff that I don't even know are coming through. It's like, it'd be nice to be aware of certain things. And so, I go with the flow as best I can. And I was trying to explain that, last night, like how it's always best, like how Bruce, pretty loud out here. So it's always best to be like, what Bruce Lee says, to be like water, to be water, or become like water, to be in the flow, to stay in the flow. What I've always said is like, when you're like water, then you're able to let go. Like people say, you always have to let go and let God, right? Well, when you become like water, if you're in a stream, right? If you're within a flow, if you're in a current, right? And the current's going this way, it's always best to go with the currents instead of go into the currents, right? Like if you're riding a bike, you always want to ride with the wind instead of against the winds, right? You always want to go with the grain instead of against the grain. In woodwork, there's always different things, but it's always better to go with the flow than to try to become like what I explain to people is you don't want to become stagnant. You don't want to become so grounded that you're like a rock and you become a standstill, just fighting that current. You're just a rock, but every once in a while those rocks get pushed and they basically become, water tumbled, and then you get nice river rocks that are all been tumbled and nice and polished, polished rocks from the water. And so, yeah, maybe there is something in being like a rock because you can become polished, right? But then there's also those who want to be like very airy and just like float around and like not be so grounded, right? And then they become like the leaves that get stuck on the top of the water, and they just go with the flow, right? But then sometimes those leaves, they'll end up getting stuck in those little like whirlpools, that become cesspools because then the water doesn't move around and becomes stagnant. And then you're sitting in stagnant water. Maybe you yourself aren't stagnant, but the water around you becomes stagnant. And so it's always best to just be able to let go, to let God, and to just go with the flow, to just let the currents take you where they may, and just try to stay as light as you possibly can, but not too light to where you get stuck in those cesspools and those whirlpools, but also don't get too grounded where you become like a rock and you just get stuck and stationary, and then you don't move, and then the flow has to move around you, and then you become a part of the obstacle for the flow. So you don't want to become an obstacle of the flow. You want to be the flow, be with the flow, be the flow. And a lot of people with anxiety and stuff, they what I understand is they tend to worry about the what ifs too much instead of focusing on the fact that they're going to become part of the perfect outcome of whatever it may be. And by worrying, they create that stress that is an unnecessary stress, you know. So recently, I've had some financial hits. I even posted up on Facebook that for the first time ever, I may need to try and do a GoFundMe, or raise a little bit of funds real quick, or even ask for donations for the first time ever. I started to ask, like, if anyone can help, I'd be willing to accept your help. But me, I always am gonna offer something in return. Always give back some sort of glass blowing, something, this or that, whatever I can give back in return. And my sister came through, but my sister, she's always helping me out, and she always comes through, and so I gotta always give my thanks and my gratitude for my sister. God bless her soul. Hare Krishna. And so, my sister came through and helped me out with a little bit more than she usually does, and sooner than she normally does as well. And so that was a nice offering there, and it really helped out. Um, but then there were like a lot of things that was happening. Like saving up money, trying to figure out things. In April, we have our nice little 420 celebration, which set me back a little bit, not gonna lie. And then right away, May comes, right? And and my wife's birthday comes up right at the beginning of May. And so right away, I've got to make sure, that first off, all the bills are taken care of, right? And then make sure that we have stuff to make sure we can celebrate for my wife. At least make sure I can make her a cake or some kind of celebration of some sort, a gift of some sort. And then after that is Mother's Day, right? So then we have to do the Mother's Day thing. Look at this. Look at this guy. Trying to get out. He's trying to get out over here with me. So then there's Mother's Day, right? And then I'm like, I'm already set back from the 420 celebrations, and then there's Mother's Day, and then after that, then we got our boy's 5th birthday. I'm like, that's a big deal. I remember my 5th birthday. That was like the time when memories all became from that point on, and then we had a big party, and the week leading up to that, to his birthday, then I got assaulted, and I had to press charges. So now there's battery charges against an individual who assaulted me, and that happened the week on the 14th of May, so halfway through the month, right after Mother's Day. Getting attacked by someone who possibly is a mother, an individual who stands up she's a women's right advocate, and stands up for those who have been abused and assaulted, and dealing with domestic violence and those sort of issues, and she's out there attacking individuals out on the streets. And so, it sucks I have to go through this now, and the whole going through court, dealing with the whole litigation stuff and jurisdiction, the judicial system, not jurisdiction, the judicial system, and everything, and having to deal with police officers, and having to file a report, like all this stuff, and then going through all the stuff with missing work and doing medical things, and getting myself checked out because I got injured from this thing, and still dealing with injuries with my knee now, and having like something happen with my knee, and there's something torn. I probably have to go back again, but I have to set up physical therapy still, so I'm thinking that's gonna help. there's all kinds of stuff going on, right? And then during this whole time, um, there's a whole nother situation that occurred like right then, starting around 420, that I didn't know about, right? And I'm getting these calls from our storage unit, and they're like, I know that they're gonna tell me that we're late and stuff, right? So I'm like, oh man. So um, they're trying to get a hold of me, and I just figured, yeah, they're gonna tell me that I'm late. I can't pay them yet. Because of what happened with being attacked, I then lost a few days of work, which then set me back. I wasn't able to, we had our son's birthday that weekend, and thankfully, my sprained ankle was healed. By that Saturday, I was able to walk around on it, able to go to the store and go shopping, get the groceries we needed for the party. And then Sunday we had the actual party, and I had a lot of help from a lot of people there. So thank you to everyone who helped me over there, especially with the pinata and just setting up things and making sure everyone had their food and making sure the kids were all taken care of and safe, and the goodie bags and all this stuff. Thank you all for all your help, because that was hard walking around. I did a lot of sitting that day in the grass and relaxing. That was nice. Um, so then, you know, the very next day after that, I was supposed to try to pay off our storage before the next month went into due, right? Another bill being due, because then we'd have to owe double, and I didn't want to owe double. I just wanted to pay off what we owed, and then the next bill would go in, and then I just take care of that a few weeks later, right? But I didn't have the funds. I couldn't pay for it. It went into double the fees, and then 3 or 4 days after that, then they go into auction, right? And so they do the whole processing fees, which is $150 on top of that. And I'm just like, okay, there goes another like close to $500 that I'm sitting, when I was looking at only paying 175, and now I'm looking at paying $500, all because I got set back from being attacked and couldn't work and couldn't keep my funds coming in, and then having to miss work with doing all the care stuff. And then during all this stuff, then we got then June 1st comes, right? And we got through the party, and it was a beautiful success. And then I had to do some more doctor's appointments and things, and I missed some work, but I was able to finally get back to work. So I was able to get some money generated, and I started slowly trying to make that money. But I was like, I only have until like the 19th to pay this off, or then another bill is gonna go through, and then I'm gonna owe like 650, like almost $700 at that point, and that's gonna be ridiculous to have to pay. The 500 already was ridiculous to have to pay, and so I started working towards that, right, and getting some funds up, and that's when my sister then sent a little bit of funds quicker, and then we found out we were late on our rent, and it's like, why are we late on our rent? And then because we got a notice that said we still owed them $100, and then we owed them late fees, and we're like, wait a minute, they put our rent up $100. So I'm gonna go back inside. That way I'm not too loud over here. So they put our rent up $100, guys, and apparently we didn't get the notice on the door. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. We didn't get the notice. So, but they tape the notices on the door usually, and I don't know why we didn't get it or where it went. If we did, I don't know. But they also sent an email, right? So the email proves that they did give us a notification. So we can't say that they didn't give us a notification. But we were, it was an unexpected $100 that, had we known, I would have just put whatever money I had towards my storage just right to the rent. Like, whatever, I'll just come up with another $100, you know? And so I kept having these setbacks after setbacks of having to pay this or pay that or buy this or buy that. And so the money that I was accumulating to try to pay off this $500 kept on dwindling. It's like, The whole one step forward, two steps back. I'm like, I need to put three steps forward and not have any more steps back. Like, come on. So finally, I was at the final end and the final push, and working towards getting it close to being paid off and everything, and making sure that we had funds in the bank account, making sure we had the money in my account and in my PayPal account and on my card. I make sure it's transferred over to my debit and all that, and whatever cash I have on hand from any of the side jobs that I've been doing. And so, and then I had to do a job where I didn't want to, another email job that turns into dictating like someone's personal autobiography or whatever. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, so ridiculous. And I tell an individual, I got 1 day to do this. Let's get this done in 5 hours. Just an email, and then it becomes something else. 2 days later, I'm making the money, but so stressful that it wasn't a fun way or a very gratifying way of making that money. But I made it, and I was grateful for being able to accumulate that money, and for being able to help the individual that needed my help. And still got to like finish that thing, but that's going to take time to fit into my schedule. Because I did tell the individual I have 1 day free. Like, here's your opportunity. Let's make this happen. And it didn't happen. So I don't know what to do now at that situation, but that's a whole different situation. Um, Having to go to the doctor's appointments, and this individual needed my help because he also had doctor's appointments and needed my help to give him a ride, and doesn't have anyone else to rely on. I'm like, and can't use the phone, doesn't know how to use the phone to set up an Uber, and like, oh my gosh. So I had to like then get an Uber for us to get him to his appointments and get him back home. And they wouldn't check him out to anyone unless I was there or he had someone there. So a lot of stuff going on and a lot of stress. And on top of all of that, and then we pay the rent, and like, okay, we just gotta, I can focus on getting the storage paid off. And then we get hit with another thing that says that you have 1 week to clear all of the trash and weeds and debris in the front. I'm like, we don't have any weeds and debris. That's like everyone else around. And then they allow their trash cans to get knocked over or blown over, and then the trash gets blown through the front commons way over here. So there's trash all over everyone else's areas. I make sure to pick up all the trash because I don't want trash all stuck in our plants and in our pots and the growing pots and stuff that we have out there, the planters. So I'm always cleaning it up, and I don't have weeds because I don't want the weeds to get out of hand and then start to cross pollinate into our containers where we're growing. So I keep that area clean and clear. But I did have a lot of stuff that was accumulated for growing materials like containers. I had a lot of 5 gallon buckets and cat litter buckets that are the 5 gallon buckets and all this stuff. And I thought I was going to be able to do the whole how to do a Dutch bucket system on Father's Day. But then we got hit with this notice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I got to like clear this out. I only got a couple days to do it, which was yesterday. I had until yesterday to get it all cleaned and cleared out. So, and I'm still trying to work on one thing, which is the rain barrel, 55 gallon barrel full of water. And now I'm just trying to like use it daily and just pour it into the plants and overwater them as much as I possibly can without hurting them, right? So yay, lots of fun, lots of stuff that we've been dealing with. And then I go over to the storage unit to go pay off the storage, right? And I finally have like the $500 all set up, and like on the way there, like something happened with the bank account and money not being there, and then that was like a stressful thing. Like, oh my gosh, like, so now I got to try this new card to see if this is gonna work. I hope they accept it. If not, then I'm gonna be short what I thought. Like, I thought this was all gonna be cleared and taken care of, and so I was stressing on that, on making sure that I didn't have another fee, because they're going to charge me here again for the next month. But at that point, then I just pay them when I pay them, and it's okay. So then, hoping that it all works out, just praying and manifesting that the payment's going to go through, and I can give them cash for the rest of it and everything. And it went through. But as I show up, then oh my gosh, then the normal guy who's there at the storage unit, he's like, man, I've been trying to reach you forever. And it's like, oh, well, I talked to the other guy just recently, and he let me know that what I owed and the late fees, and I talked to him about like how long I have before everything actually does go to auction in the storage unit. And the storage unit is stuff that I don't really care to lose. Like there's stuff in there though that isn't mine, so I have to be responsible for it and keep it in there and stuff. So I'm helping out a friend store some pictures and paintings and stuff. And then I've got my brother's washer in there, and I got a couple other things and stuff that we have stored. But it really isn't a necessity, and I think we can downsize it. And so the guy there, the main guy, he's like, I've been trying to reach you, man. I'm so sorry. I don't know why he didn't inform you about this when he was letting you know about all the fees and everything, but we had a break in and your unit was compromised. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm coming in to give you guys $500 on a unit that might have been completely cleared out. I'm just like, oh gosh, okay, well, here's the money. Let's go open it now that I have access to it, because I didn't have access to it. They put a lock on it. As soon as I don't pay, like within that first month, then they put a lock on it, and then until you pay, then you can't get back in or whatever. So we're going over there like, oh my gosh. But the good thing is we actually had insurance. We have insurance put on there up to $2,000, which is freaking awesome. And so we go over there and we open it up, and they didn't take all my bikes. I was actually hoping they would have taken all the bikes and the bike frames and everything, but it's so stacked up all willy nilly and crazy that it would have been a crazy mess for them to deal with and probably make a lot of noise and stuff. But they went through some things, they went through some boxes and stuff, and there's some stuff that I know is missing, and so now I have to now I got to file a claim. So now I got to deal with this other like paperwork stuff, and I was like, what is going on here? But we have insurance. It doesn't look like they took any of my friends' paintings and artwork and those really expensive like frames. Like they're huge too. She used to own a gallery, so in Old Town, and so these pieces are worth thousands of dollars. Had these people known what was in there. But they got away with it. They knew where the cameras were. They moved the cameras. I guess they bent them down, so they didn't really get them too much. There's a couple cameras where they saw them driving by and the tailgating in, and saw like the person, but he was wearing a mask, and looked like some white guy with the bald head, maybe an older gentleman. I don't know. So now we got to file a claim. So yay, that's what I'll be doing today since I'm not working. And we had to go there yesterday to actually have my friend assess and make sure that he also saw that there was nothing of theirs that they saw missing or anything, and then to have him help me remember what we moved in, because he helped me move stuff in. So yeah, he was saying the same stuff that I was thinking is missing, and then there was a few boxes that had been gone through. So there's stuff from when I moved out and cleared out my friend who recently passed away. They were clearing out the home and getting it ready to get put onto the market for sale. And so I was hired to move a lot of stuff and to dump a lot of stuff. And so the things that were just going to get thrown away and dumped, there was a lot of stuff that I was able to salvage and keep, and there was a lot of electronic gear and stuff that I was able to that I was given, by his daughter when she hired me. It was stuff that she was like, yeah, go on ahead and take that, being helpful with helping them and everything. So now I have to like try to remember all the stuff that was just new in my possession that I recently got and just put in there. And you know, like all kinds of microphones and different cables and hi-fi listening devices and earphones, like really nice earphones, and like headphones that like these kind, like this, that they actually have um, like a power, I don't know, it's like a booster on it, and then you can remove these and take these all off, so then you can like you can you know, you can put a new one on there if they break or whatever. So, you know, a lot of like really nice headphones and all kinds of stuff like that. So um and just and you know, other music equipment and stuff. So now we're gonna do that. I'll figure out what we can do about that. But a good thing that we had the insurance on that, or else we would have just been out and paying for stuff. But that's cool. So but other than that, I'm gonna let y'all go, and yeah, just wanted to let you know that we got through that whole craziness. Hello. And yeah, everything is now to where I can finally relax and not have so much stress and anxiety from all of that was going on, and just basically that storm that I've been going through. And so yeah, I just, you know, I gotta give thanks and gratitude for everyone that helped out and was able to give me jobs and able to afford to pay me for my time and my service, and those who purchased glass and things like that, and also to my sister for helping out, and just everyone else, and you know, to my wife for being able to come through and help out as well, and yeah. Um, with that being said, you guys have a beautiful day, and make sure you guys can get through your storms as well. Love and blessings.